All set? Good evening, everyone. Today is, what is today? Today is October 7th. This is a regularly scheduled school committee meeting. Could we all please rise? And we start our meeting by saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Rostikowicz?
Here.
Ms. Scott?
Here.
Mr. Conway?
Here.
Mayor Elliott?
Here.
Mr. Gendron?
Here.
Mr. Leary?
Here.
Ms. Martin?
Here.
7 present.
7 present. We'll begin with the special order of business. And first, let me thank and let me welcome everyone here this evening to the chamber, City Council chambers, for the school committee meeting. And let me start by saying congratulations, and let me ask you to give yourselves a round of applause for your accomplishment this past summer. How do you feel about it, kids? You think you did a good job? You can do a better job than that. Did you do a good job? They just want their award. So, in light of that, I'd like to recognize the superintendent. First item on the agenda, we have a spotlight on excellence, and that is summer reading. You're all going to get an award and a certificate for your accomplishment this summer, and we want to thank you. A total of 18,000 books were read. Great job. Woo! Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, good evening. It is great having you all here. Welcome, and congratulations again. This is the Spotlights on Excellence for our 8th year of the grades K through 8 summer reading program. At this point, I'm going to recognize Assistant Superintendent Abrams to give us a little bit of an explanation.
Thank you. Good evening. The Lowell Public School Department values the contributions of its partners in education of our children. This summer, many of our partners, parents, guardians, and caretakers of students in grades K through 8 were invited to support young learners in extending and enriching their literacy skills by encouraging daily summer reading. Our students were challenged not only to read each day, but to also maintain a summer reading log of their thoughts, feelings, and ideas. As the mayor just said, a total of 18,016 books were read, and all participating students received a certificate. This evening, all students who are present tonight will receive a certificate along with a $25 gift certificate from Barnes & Noble. I'd like to thank all the parents, community partners, and staff who supported this effort. And I would also like to thank the Lowell School Committee for its enthusiastic support of this event. Most especially, I'd like to offer my congratulations to every student who took advantage of this opportunity to enrich their lives through reading. I'm certain that the stories read and lessons learned through engaging literature added enormously to the summer experience. So we will begin now, and we will start with the Bailey School and offer our congratulations to the students. I would ask you to hold all applause until we go through the names, and at the end of the ceremony, we'll try to have a group picture for all of our students.
So parents, just by way of logistics, their names will be called. They'll get their award. They will get their certificate. We will congratulate them, and then after will be your opportunity to take a group photo. We've done this in the past. If you're going to take a picture, you could probably take it up there, but you can also come down here because we'll line them up in a couple of rows and we'll squeeze them all in. Make sense? Okay.
Great. Bailey School, Autumn Gallant. Anelia Olivares. John Susi. Bartlett School, Kayla Van, Valerie Chiari, Charita Mann. From the Butler School, Riley Freitas, Ashley Bovair, and Samantha Sang. From the Daly School, Emma Cecil, Ben Rowe, and Almea Yi Singh. From the Green Elch, Brushki McManus, Basha Abdutul Matalib, and Maureen Oyanino. Laura Lee School, Dylan Cormier. Lincoln School, Lita Loy, Veronica Porseng, and Richmond Porseng. McAuliffe School, Joseph Chavayo, Dylan Marks, and Brenda Cruz. McAvenue School, Elijah Matos, Jessica Allard, Aquiles Gomez. Moody School, Eduarda Tremontin, Gabriella Tremontin, and Bathia Nina Bowles. Morey School, Dennis Thuen, Choi Von Sagatelli, and Deandra Heng. From the Merkland School, Richard V. Eng, Edna Bonsu, and Xavier Chum. Pawtucketville School, Raymond Walsh, Dylan Connor, and Yasmin Robson. Pine Arts School, Genesis Algarin, Francisco Rosario, and Jessica Sullivan. Riley School, Aria Clow, Landon Lane, and Brian Espinola. Robinson School, Pa, Ken Lea, and Elisa Keogh. Shaughnessy School, Kristen DeRocha, Angelina Sau, and Tiana Yu. STEM Academy at the Rogers School, Athena Edwards, Melissa Muteba, and Aubrey Inglis. Stocklosa School, Andrelise Rosario, Madeline Gilpin, and Faith Min. Sullivan School. Olivia Gallagher, Darren Saar, and Samara Cardoso. And the Wang School, Jessica Jackson, Caleb Walsh, and Juliet Thatch. And lastly, we have the Washington School with Marilise Acosta, Logan Briggs, and Javier Rivera. And we also have from the Daily School, Amaya Yesina. Thank you and congratulations to all. I'm not going to say.
There's no hurry. I forgot to thank the Canaligator. Can we thank the Canaligator for coming? So now we'll revert to continue on the agenda, actually. We have the approval of minutes of the regularly scheduled school committee meeting of Wednesday, September 16th. Motion to accept the minutes as presented and placed on file by Mr. Conway, second by Mr. Gendron. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The minutes are accepted and placed on file. We'll proceed to permission to enter. Mr. Superintendent, we have permission to enter on October 7, 2015.
Yes, at this point, I recognize Mr. Frank Antonelli.
Recommend to the school committee that you approve the following contracts to enter Lynn Chambers in the amount of $6,000, which is for special education testing. Deborah Krukowski for professional development in the amount of $10,000 out of a Title I grant. Julie Charette for $8,800 for professional development out of the school department budget. And the University of Massachusetts at Lowell for curriculum-based programs to students in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 8th, and 11th grades for $39,990.
Questions on permission to enter any of these expenditures? Move to approve by Ms. Ross-Sigurd, second by Ms. Scott. Roll call.
Ms. Ross-Sikowicz?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes.
Mr. Gendron?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
We're just going to let that one go. If that wasn't a Freudian slip, then I've never heard. We move on to memorials. We have 3 memorials this evening. We have Attorney Richard Howe, a memorial for Attorney Richard Howe, former mayor, former city councilor, father-in-law of Lowell High School Discipline and Operations Specialist, Dr. Roxanne J.M. Howe. We also have a memorial for Sylvia A. Lawler, mother-in-law of Interim Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations, Frank Antonelli. We also have a memorial for Ann M. Haggerty, sister of Eileen Donahue, Massachusetts State Senator. Could we all please rise for a moment of silence, and could we please darken the chambers? May they rest in peace.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Gendron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wonder if I could just make a quick comment. Obviously, we all want to send our condolences to Mr. Antonelli and his family, Senator Eileen Donahue and her family, and the Howe family tonight. But I just want to make a quick comment with regard to Richard Howe. I had the honor to serve with Mayor Howe at the time in the 90s, from 94 to 98 on the city council. And I think that in my eyes, Richard Howe epitomized a public servant here in Lowell. He was a tough politician. I mean that in the best sense of the word. He didn't, if he felt he had to stand up for something, he didn't back down. But he always voted and acted in the best interests of the city of Lowell, in my opinion. But more importantly, I believe Richard Howe, in addition to be a dedicated public servant, drove a successful business here downtown, was a dedicated family man, and was a very faithful man. He could often be seen starting his day at St. Joseph's Shrine down here in the downtown. So he will certainly be missed, but not forgotten, and the impact that he had on the city of Lowell will last forever. So special condolences to the Howe family tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gendron. Further discussion? Okay, we'll move it to motions of the evening. The first 2 motions are myself. I'd like to ask Ms. Martin to take the chair. Thank you.
Our first motion of the evening from Mayor Rodney Elliott requests the school committee accept 30 copies of Veterans Heroes in Our Neighborhood book donated by Veterans Assisting Veterans, and requests that the superintendent distribute 1 to each school. Seconded by Mr. Leary. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. So the motion does speak for itself, but I thought it was important to bring this forward. I'm a member of the Veterans Assistant Veterans Organization in the city. We actually have an officer of that organization here this evening, and I'd ask the indulgence of my colleagues here if we could suspend the rules and allow him to speak. It was his idea. He's also a member of the Veterans Commission, that the first Veterans Commission established by ordinance in the Commonwealth. But more importantly, as we approach the Veterans Day holiday, I think it's important that we continue to go into our schools. I know there is a wonderful event at the Butler School coming up that we've all been invited to, and I've attended it on a couple of occasions, and it's really a great opportunity to go see our students recognize, remember, and honor our veterans. And I think that's what this book will do for our youngsters. And my hope, the hope is that we'll get one to every school, and that when on Veterans Day, if our elected officials, I know there are a number of reading days throughout the year, but my hope is that they will select this book, because I think it's important that we begin to educate and inform our young students of the importance of honoring our veterans, those that put their lives on the line for us, so we can live in the country that we do. So with that, if there's no objection, John McDonald is here. This is his idea. I think it's a great idea that we, and this is going to happen. It's happening in Drake, it's happening in Tingsboro, it's happening in Chelmsford, it's happening across the Commonwealth. So as always, I want to make sure that Lowell is right out front with this. So with that, if Mr. McDonald could speak.
Mr. Superintendent and staff. I'm pleased to be able to join you this evening. I'm proud to be able to present this book. It's called Veterans, Heroes in Our Neighborhood. My organization, Veterans Assisting Veterans, and as Mayor Elliott had mentioned, he is a honorary member, as many of the counselors and state reps, not only in Lowell but across the Merrimack Valley, are also a member of Veterans Assisting Veterans from an honorary standpoint. This book came across to us by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs in Massachusetts, Francisco Urena. And it's a book that he and the administration feel very strongly effectively communicates what a veteran is. I'll quote in the back of the book, it's important for this generation to understand what past generations have sacrificed for their freedoms, and this book teaches exactly that. And it's a picture book with, some a nice story that basically talks about there's a baker down the street, electrician down the street, and they happen to be a veteran. And it explains very effectively to youngsters who the heroes are in their community. Might be a mom, might be a dad, grandparent, neighbor. So not only are we going to donate to Drake and Tingsboro and Methuen, but we're going to up the ante a little bit here in the city of Lowell, and we would like to donate one of these books. And Mr. Superintendent, you'll let me know how many classes there are in the city, first grade classes there are in the city of Lowell. We will donate one book for each class, and what we were hoping that we could do is in or around Veterans Day, city council, school administration, school committee members an opportunity to go in, read the book, and give the book as a gift to the class. So thank you for the opportunity, and appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. First and foremost, second, let me also thank you for your service as a veteran. He's a veteran of Desert Storm. So that's the motion. I thank my colleagues for the time and indulgence to let Mr. McDonald speak.
So I'm sorry, Mr. Leary?
Quickly, we were talking when you were taking pictures that it was one of our teachers, Kate McLaughlin, who's now a vice principal at the STEM Academy, was saying she actually found the book last year and utilized it because it's very effective to teach youngsters what a veteran actually is, because it's so difficult when you're at kindergarten, first grade level to really comprehend what that is. So I want to thank Mr. McDonald. I think it's an excellent book, and look forward to, I know we all look forward to reading that to the first graders this year. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, so motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Our next motion, also by Mayor Rodney Elliott, superintendent provide a report on the financial status of the school department budget, seconded by Mr. Gendron. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. So we're about three months into the fiscal year, Mr. Superintendent. This is your first budget, and I'd like to get an update. We've had a number of discussions about the status, and believe it or not, before we know it, we'll be moving into the next fiscal year. We have some challenges that we face, and I just want to know where we are financially and how we prepare, or how what the next fiscal year looks like. We're in negotiations, and that has some impact on what we're doing. So I think it's important for you and your administration, Mr. Antonelli, to provide the school committee with a status of where we are, what our liabilities are, what our obligations are moving forward, and how how are we going to manage moving forward? So that's the nature of the motion, and I'd like to get a report on this so we can start the process.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Superintendent?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We will be preparing, obviously, a quarterly report that is very detailed for our next meeting, which is usually what Mr. Frank Antonelli will do. At every quarter, you'll get a detailed one. However, I will ask Mr. Antonelli to give us a little bit of information today before ahead of time, and then you will get the full details, obviously, at the next meeting in written format as well.
Okay.
Mr. Antonelli.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. So at the next meeting, I will provide a quarterly report, which will be as of September 30th. Plan to include all of the expenses and encumbrances for the general fund, as well as all grants and revolving accounts. And after that, I would like to recommend that you receive a monthly report so that you can keep on top of all of the expenses and potential liabilities, and I would be happy to do that as well. One of my responsibilities is to approve purchase orders as they come through the central office. I can tell you that all of the schools have been ordering their supplies on time. I have not seen any purchase orders that would be in excess of the budget that has been appropriated. And as far as special education costs are concerned, I do have a meeting scheduled this week to review all of the out-of-district tuition expenses with the special education administrator. So that will become part of the report that I present at the next school committee meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. If there's any additional information other than what I've just said, please feel free to tell me. I'd be happy to get that for you at the next meeting.
Any other comments?
Yeah, at this point, from my end, I think we're on target for the budget that was given to us when we started the year, which was a budget you had approved some time ago. As I said, it is a challenging budget. Everybody needs to know that. It's a budget that is tight, very tight, and it's a budget that's also has, as everybody knows, it is a public document. It's a budget that in it has some part of it, nearly 1.2 million or so, that is covered from last year's leftover, if you want to call it that way. And so that really presents a challenge to us as we're facing next year. We're going to start next year right off the bat before we do anything. Since we know we're not going to have any leftovers this year, we're going to start with a deficit of 1.2 that we need to think about. In addition to that, as you know, we were talking earlier to the subcommittee, the budget for this year did not include the ELL needs that we have for this year. So we'll be coming with further details to the finance subcommittee with the questions they've asked us, some good questions for how we're going to try to cover the needs for this year. So while we're doing generally pretty well, I don't want to give everybody the wrong impression. It is a tough budget that we're going to have to figure out how to make sure we don't fall back, and we'll be able to meet our obligations.
Yeah, no.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
No, I think that's exactly what I would like to find, the information that we'll look for. I mean, when we start talking about structural deficits, that's a problem, knowing last year it was essentially a level funded appropriation from the state. I mean, there was an additional $300,000 for Chapter 70, but when we look at our annual increases across the board, that's it's a problem. It's something that we need to face, something that we need to get a hold of right off the bat. And when we're carrying money over, I hope that's okay. I mean that money doesn't expire, but using past year's money to pay for next year's expenses is something that we have to prepare for. So I'll look forward to the report.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Next motion of the evening is by Ms. Martin. And the motion requesting that the Personnel Subcommittee schedule a meeting for the superintendent to present his proposed evaluation instrument for review and discussion prior to submission for approval to the Lowell Full School Committee at the October 21st meeting. Seconded by Ms. Ross-Sigurds. Ms. Martin?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Basically, just wanting to make sure that we don't, with the new superintendent, we don't want to get too deep into the school year. Traditionally, what we do is we do our superintendent evaluation. Usually, well, perfect world, we try to do it over the summer, but usually it happens in September or October. But I wanted us to have an opportunity for the superintendent to be able to present to the subcommittee and ultimately to the full committee what his goals, as he's setting them now for the district, will be. As we all know, and I'm sure the superintendent is aware as well, we do use the same teacher evaluation instrument for our evaluation of the superintendent. So it does give us an opportunity to look at standards, to be able to make those determinations, at the end of a year that is really very closely tied to the real work of the superintendent. I always reference back to when I first came onto the committee, we had an evaluation instrument that asked us to grade how the superintendent dressed. Did they dress appropriately? That was a great one. So we have moved in a very positive direction. You're doing fine, by the way, but but so if we could have that conversation early on, so we're all on the same page, and then again hoping to be able to present it to the full committee on the 21st of October at our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Further discussion on this motion, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you said earlier, we are following the same DESE model. The DESE model clearly indicates that the first presentation of the goals is to take place before October 31st, and it falls right perfectly with meeting of October 21st. I'll leave it up to you when we would like to, as a subcommittee, if you'd like to meet the same day so we can, like we did with the Finance Committee, so we minimize the number of meetings. I'm happy to do that as well the same day we can meet with the subcommittee.
Yeah,
or
we
if
could
you
do
want
both
any other day,
subcommittees
that's
on one
fine
night, that'd
too.
be great. That'd be awesome. We will, if Minerva can reach out to
Sure.
the two subcommittees, that'd be great. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Further discussion on that motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion passes. Next motion of the evening by Ms. Ross-Sikowitz, request the superintendent review and revise as needed the bullying prevention and intervention plan per plan language must be revised biannually. Second by Ms. Scott. Ms. Ross-Sikowitz.
The motion really speaks for itself, but for those that aren't aware, for our audience rather, we do have a bullying prevention and intervention plan which outlines exactly what bullying is and what the interventions are that are associated with those particular incidents and whatnot. So I just happened to review it last week and realized that we were coming up on our biennial review, and I just wanted to bring it forward to the committee and to the superintendent so that we're on top of these issues.
Mr. Superintendent, the Deputy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we'll definitely have to do it, but I'm going to defer to my assistant, Mrs. Durkin, to give us any more information on this. Thanks.
Deputy Superintendent Durkin.
Thank you. One of the things that we do is we actually review our policy annually as part of our Lowell High School and elementary and middle school handbook revisions. And so what we will do this year, so that the committee is aware of it, we will share with the committee at the time of our handbook review any revisions or updates that we make to the bullying plan, just so that you know that we do follow along with the Massachusetts guidelines relative to the bullying laws, and we take that very seriously and review it annually.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Durkin. Further discussion on this motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next motion of the evening by Ms. Ross-Sigowitz. Request the superintendent provide an update as to the status of the district-wide safety assessment. Second by Ms. Martin. Ms. Ross-Sigowitz?
Thank you, Mayor. With the superintendent being newer to our district, perhaps he may or may not be aware of this issue this initiative has been percolating since 2012, in fact. And it actually came from a request by the high school, by Lowell High School, to have a safety assessment done of its facilities. And the motion was then amended to include district-wide. And really just looking at the facilities, our safety plans, and in the most recent update, the former deputy superintendent had noted that the RFP was ready to be issued, and so I was just looking for an update on that.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, I'm going to ask Mr. Antonelli to give us a little bit of an update.
The RFP was issued, and we have received several proposals from companies. We had a meeting scheduled last week to begin the evaluation process of those proposals. That meeting had to be postponed until next week, and we will review those proposals starting next week, get some more information from the companies that have submitted the proposal, do an interview with them, and then report back.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. That concludes the motions of the evening. Next section, we have subcommittees. We have a curriculum subcommittee report and approval of the minutes of the meeting of Tuesday, September 29th. Chair would like to recognize the chairwoman of that subcommittee, Ms. Martin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Present at the meeting on September 29th, beginning at 7 p.m. were myself and Mr. Leary. From central office, we had in attendance Assistant Superintendent Claire Abrams, our Coordinator of Science and Social Studies, Martha Cohn, District Specialist Paula Bransfield, Coordinator of Language and Literacy, Melissa Newell, Magali Ronan, our Coordinator of Mathematics Pre-K through 4, Pat Murphy-Pancho, our Early Education Director, also Terry O'Neill from the early childhood area, Peter Holtz, the principal at the Bartlett, Jason McCreven, principal at the STEM Academy at the Rogers, and Liam Skinner, who is the principal at the Daily. It was clearly a very crowded meeting. A number of different topics that we addressed. First off was a presentation from the STEM Academy at the Rogers by Principal McCreven and a number of his staff. I personally found it really inspiring, and I think the work that's happening at that STEM Academy so perfectly reflects what our goals had been, this committee, and around, certainly particularly around the curriculum subcommittee. When we first presented this idea to the administration, it happened, as I said that night, in very short order in kind of Lowell School Department terms. It happened over the course of about a year and a half, which was pretty impressive. But it has been launched successfully, and it really, hearing from Principal McCreven, again, and his team, who are so able to clearly articulate how science, technology, engineering, and math is their central focus, and yet how it is being implemented across all curriculum areas, so that you really are including writing in a very comprehensive way. You are including literacy. You are including all the other specials that are part of, and that we want to be part of every child's experience, particularly at the elementary level here in the Lowell Public Schools. So that we're really seeing firsthand how STEM can be central to a curriculum and yet still be used as a content area that can inform and inspire all the other areas that need to be part of every well-rounded education. So I was very appreciative of the presentation, and I think it was really quite impressive what they've been able to accomplish at the Rogers. Our second topic was on Project Lead the Way. You'll notice a theme. This is a generous grant that we had received from the Lind Foundation supporting STEM education at various points across the district. It is being included at the Rogers, but also including the Butler, and it will begin at the high school next year. So this is has been put in place. It again gives us the opportunity to provide professional development for teachers, as well as some support materials, so that we're really incorporating STEM learning in a way that supports all of our overall education efforts. We had a presentation on the Teaching Strategies Gold kindergarten report card. This has been a conversation we've had in the curriculum subcommittee a number of times. We talked very clearly about how teachers had been involved in this process over the course of the summer, certainly, in trying to develop a kindergarten report card which will be effective for parents, which they'll be able to understand clearly, and which will track the standards that we need to be tracking, so that both our teaching staff and our families have a very clear idea of how their students are performing in school, and be able to support that effort from home. We had a couple topics that we did discuss that were the results of motions, discussing test prep during the school year. We did receive, this was a result of a motion by Kimberly Scott. We were looking to hear exactly what kind of time and resources are being devoted to test prep across the district. I think we all share the concern that it can be overwhelming, and certainly feel overwhelming at times. Looking at what the principals were able to report back to us, there's certainly, the language they're using and the information they're giving us really does focus on how test prep is being included as part of everyday learning in the Lowell Public Schools, so that there's not a chance where children are being, taken off the traditional curriculum and the traditional learning activity simply to do, test prep in a, I guess, more of a training sense. If there are other comments, I'd welcome them. Now would probably be a good time.
Swear.
Ms. Scott?
No, I'm sorry. I just find the report not to be a reflection of my own experience, which is why I made the motion to begin with. The amount of stress put on our teachers over testing and, all the state requirements, it's very important that it's not passed on to our students. The talk, just the constant talk about MCAS, it just needs to be brought up, that it just needs to not happen in front of our kids. And I understand it's a very difficult situation for our staff, the pressure that they're under, but our kids are coming home, and I hear it from my own kids, I hear it from my friends' kids. They're nervous, and they're coming home nervous. And I'm sure it's not the same at every school. You can look at the report, it's not the same at every school, but it's certainly the same, it's certainly happening. And I just want us to really, be aware of that, and really keep our eyes out for it, and try to make that an effort not to include that discussion in front of our children. Thank you.
I'd certainly be willing, if we wanted to, not move on these last two items that were a result of your motions, and postpone them to the next curriculum subcommittee to be discussed. I know you weren't able to attend this one. So, but I'd be fine to do that if you'd prefer that. It's up to you.
We
Ms. Scott?
can move forward. They're a report. You took them as a report of progress, right?
Right.
Correct? Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. It's just normally I wouldn't do that when you weren't there.
I know, and I couldn't make it. I apologize.
Nope, but that's okay. I just want you to have an opportunity to speak on it. And then the final topic that we did have was the middle school lyceum discussion. We did have, I think, passionate presentations from Principal Liam Skinner and Principal Peter Holtz, discussing the real concerns they have around moving in this direction. I think both were speaking very clearly about the days of tracking, which certainly were a part of the Lowell Public Schools, as they were citing the kind of the bellwether when this trend changed. It really was in that late 90s when we moved, and we recognized that tracking children really limited their progress, limited their opportunities and potential, and did the same for students at every level. High-performing students suffered from the same the same problems, really, if they were tracked that way. And it was when I had first come on the committee in the late 90s that we were having those conversations about moving our district towards individualized instruction to ensure that every student was being met where they were and being taken through their educational process as an individual learner. So that was presented by both principals. They made a very strong recommendation that we not pursue this structure of a middle school lyceum, and want to really see both the committee and, more importantly, the administration, I think, function and focus more on strengthening the individual instruction. That's really a cornerstone of our instruction here in the Lowell Public Schools. I would submit that as a report of progress and welcome any comments from my colleagues or the administration.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Further discussion, comments on Ms. Scott?
I'm sorry, and again, Ms. Martin, I wasn't able to attend the meeting. On the section on the Latin Lyceum, did I read that there was a recommendation to move forward with, I'm sorry? Yeah, feasibility study. I think it's wonderful that our principals are once again able to weigh in with their opinion on this. I'd like it to move forward for parents and community members to be involved. I mean, this is the second meeting we've had with the principals, so I'm glad to see this moving forward with the feasibility. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Leary?
Just a quick comment, too. I think part of the discussion in that meeting was really differentiation, the magic word that we use and try to achieve everywhere. And I think a lot of the issues that I hear are folks that, especially the middle school level, are we having a comprehensive real algebra? And we talked about that in curriculum, a little different than Latin Lyceum, but the idea is higher level learning for folks, young folks that can reach that level. I know we have some of the concepts in different parts of our math curriculum in the middle schools, but we know that some students can actually do it. So I think that's something that, whatever we achieve, I think when we go through this feasibility study, that should be part of the discussion, because we know some middle schools actually do it when teachers decide, you know what, we're going to teach at the beginning of the day, we're going to grab a few students and kind of do it. Whether it's part of the curriculum or not, we know that's happening because we got good teachers and we got good students that are trying to push the envelopes. We know it exists. So let's really kind of get behind it formally, I think, not only in math, but in other areas of our curriculum, that we can really tie it in, because we have some high achievers and we do differentiate, but let's really make sure it's consistent for everywhere, and then really kind of like look at those programs. Like, I use algebra because we speak about it. I think it's imperative that we bring that back into our curriculum, and at whatever the cost, next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leary. Further discussion on this? So can I just ask the chair or you, Mr. Superintendent? So the principals that attended, the two principals, Mr. Skinner, Mr. Holtz, they seemed, according to the minutes, that they did they support this or did they not support this?
They did not support
They did not.
moving forward.
Okay.
I suspect they will be part of the feasibility study activities,
I see.
along with any parents who want to be part of it, and other teachers and administrators. That'll be the administration that will create that group.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Further discussion on the report? Motion to accept the report as a report of progress and placed on file by Ms. Ross Sikowitz, seconded by Mr. Conway. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? That motion carries. The report is accepted and placed on file and accepted as a report of progress. We move on to reports from the superintendent. We have first report. We have quarterly reports on motions. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is your quarterly, I understand, report that you always get a multi-page. We are now looking at it. I've asked the team to look at it and try to sort it out. I'm looking at some motions here that go back to 2012. Some of them are completely obsolete. I'm going to ask, this might be a little bit out of different, out of order as you would normally do, but I'm going to ask that you give us a time until the next meeting. I think the motion was passed last time to have this at various meetings. So that what I want to do is I want to come back to you next meeting and suggest to really remove some of these that are completely obsolete and irrelevant, because they're just crowding space here and confusing everybody. And then we let us focus on the ones that are still relevant and make sure we get an answer to these. And I know that the team is already working on that. Various individuals are working a few. We already have the answer to many. to several of these. So on this note, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it.
Ms. Scott?
Just the ones in orange, right now highlighted in orange, are to be removed as completed right now? Is that what
Sorry?
they're, the ones that are highlighted right now as completed in
The ones
orange?
that are highlighted are the completed ones,
Okay.
and we have the records of their completion. Unless you feel otherwise, please let us know.
Well, I would feel different about my hiring and diversity motion. I would call it ongoing.
Can you please refer?
Number 6.
Number 6.
So can I suggest if there are, because there are 9 pages of motions, and I look at some of the ones that I had that are still relevant, so can I suggest that we, Mr. Superintendent, can we send you a motion on those that we feel are, which may be a little bit dated, but have not been answered, but we would still like responses to, and those that we don't? I mean,
That would
I
be-
agree with some on here that just, that they're making the report long and longer than necessary. So can we send you an email or send, who should we send our request to?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Superintendent?
absolutely. I think if you can send us an email, that would help the process. Then we know that we're all on the same wavelength. Yeah.
That makes sense?
Thank you.
So, motion, I don't know if we need a motion or not. But no, we don't need a motion. Just please send, Mr. Gendron?
I can just make a comment, you know, and perusing through this list, I see a number of motions from me on here that I know have been completed. So, you know, I have no problem just kind of sending you a list of going through my motions and letting you know you can knock these ones off, and these ones are still ongoing.
That'd be great.
Sounds good. Okay, so we don't need a motion. Everybody will get a bunch of emails, Mr. Superintendent, but I think that's the best way to pare down this list. So we'll move on to the next report of the superintendent. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, we need to accept this report, motion to accept the report as report of progress and place on file by Mr. Conway, second by Mr. Gendron. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. Moving on to the next report, Mass General Law, Chapter 71, Section 69. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, these are the new motions, so we're making sure to address them as soon as we get them. And I'm going to ask Assistant Superintendent Durkin to respond to this one, please.
Assistant Superintendent Durkin?
Thank you. This is a report that's provided in response to a motion by school committee members Kimberly Scott and David Conway, which was approved at the September 2nd, 2015 school committee meeting, requesting the superintendent to report on our compliance of Mass General Law, Chapter 71, Section 69, and address any noncompliance. For the viewers, that specific law relates to recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. And Mass General Law stipulates that each teacher at the commencement of the first class of each day in all grades in all public schools shall lead the class in a group recitation of the pledge. So to further that purpose and to ensure that we had compliance in all of our schools, we discussed this with our building administrators during leadership last week and this week, and asked them to facilitate the pledge at the start of the day over the intercom, and so that we're ensuring that everyone is participating in the pledge.
Thank you, Ms. Durkin. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, I want to add a comment from a couple of the schools, I think in the K through 8 schools that have different starting time, had reported that they didn't necessarily do it on the intercom because of the 2 starting times, because when the second starting time comes about, the students already started their learning and they didn't want to disturb them. But they did, I asked them to try, to promote it, make sure that you remind people of it, that even though it's not done on the intercom necessarily for the second one, that you try to talk to all the teachers involved to make sure it does happen in the classroom.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Further comments? Motion to accept the report as report of progress and place on file by Mr. Leary, seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the opposed, report is accepted as report of progress and placed on file. Moving on to the next report, K through 8 enrollment report. Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, this is a motion that about our enrollments, and I'm going to ask our Assistant Superintendent Durkin to address it, please.
Ms. Durkin?
Yes, this is in response to a request by school committee member Connie Martin to provide us with K-8 enrollment data. Also included in that request was some comparative data to last year's information. And I want to thank Family Resource Coordinator for providing this data to us, John Dakota, and he is here this evening. And at your permission, Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that he speak to this report.
Absolutely. Mr. Dakota, no objection from the school committee?
Good evening, Mayor Elliott, Dr. Kalfawi, members of the school committee. Before you, as Mrs. Durkin has told you, is the district enrollment for the Lowell Public Schools, as well as the 2 charter schools and parochial summary as well. If I may bring up a couple of increases and decreases in our enrollment and how we are affected. If we look at kindergarten, we're down 5.5%, which is our first decrease in the last 4 years. Conversely, if we look at the Lowell Collegiate Charter School, you'll see that the kindergarten enrollment is now 91 as compared to 51 last year. Of the 91 enrollment for kindergarten at the collegiate, 80 of them are Lowell residents. The Lowell Collegiate Charter School has added 2 additional classrooms in kindergarten this year. Our 4th grade number, as we expected, is the bubble grade, which is a 13% increase. As you remember, 4 years ago, we added classes to the McAvenue, the Bartlett, and the Lincoln School. So we knew this was coming, and obviously the school committee will be speaking more about this as we approach 5th grade for next year and the numbers that we'll be facing for 5th grade enrollment. Present 5th grade numbers are down as well, and that would be attributed to the new grade at the Collegiate Charter School. They have now a 5th grade. Their enrollment there for this year, 5th grade, is 59 students, in which 54 are Lowell residents. And lastly, a number that we're looking at is 8th grade. We're down close to 4%. And if we look at the Lowell Community Charter School, they were granted their 8th grade charter. If you remember, 3-4 years ago, the DESE took away their 7th and 8th grade for that period and then extended it onward. Excuse me. So the enrollment at the Lowell Community Charter School is 67 this year, with 64 being Lowell residents. So the decreases are conversely with our charter schools. If we look at our parochial school numbers, they pretty well leveled off from last year. It's about the same, so no huge increases or decreases. So that's a summary of the district enrollment. If you look at the second page of inactives, transfers in-state private, transferred in-state public, transferred out of state, and no-shows, it looks like a very large number of 310. But if we look at our new assignments and registered, we had 320 that were registered at the Family Resource Center this summer. So that's pretty much a wash there. And finally, on our last page is the average mainstream class size. If we look at our elementary numbers, it's good to see that we're not starting the year off at 26 and 27 in each classroom, but more optimally at 23, some 24s, but a much more manageable situation for our teachers in our elementary schools. As well as in our middle school, where last year, I believe we started the daily and the Wang with 30 and 31 in each class. Now we're seeing some numbers that are 27. No 28s, which I'm sure that's nice for the teachers in our middle schools, as well as those numbers are the same in our citywide elementary and middle schools as well. So roughly our elementary school average class size is 23, and our middle school is around 26, 27. And I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that the committee has.
Mr. Dakota, so the Lowell, the collegiate charter totals, there's 451 students going to that school right now,
Correct.
K through 5.
K through 5. Beginning next year, Mayor Elliott, they will be grade 6.
Grade 6.
Correct.
Now, all these students going to the campus at the Greek
Presently, what's
Transfiguration
going,
Church?
what's the arrangement right now is grades K to 3 are located at the Transfiguration Church off of Salem Street. And what the Collegiate Charter School has done this year is lease space from the Hellenic American Academy, and they are housing their 4th and 5th graders. I did have a conversation with the principal of the Collegiate Charter School last week. They are anticipating to move into their new location, the old Bradford Industries next to the Rourke Bridge, by January.
This January.
Yes.
And do we anticipate, what's the capacity, what will be the capacity of that school? Do we know?
Well, each year they'll be adding a grade, so 2 classes, so I imagine there'll be at least 50 to 60 new students in each grade going all the way. It'll all depend on if they're given additional okay by the city as well because of zoning issues as well.
So these just following up on the last page, the transfer in-state, transfer private, public, are those typical numbers? Is that a
They really
general
are.
trend?
They really are. They're consistent each year. You'll see, especially in our private, a lot of the private school students will register to the summer. And if they're 5th graders, hopefully they get into one of their preferred schools. If they don't get into one of their preferred schools, they would probably go back to their parochial or charter school. Transfer in public and transfer out of state, it's a lot of people move in and out of the city, and conversely, a lot of students move in. So we lost 310, but we gained that back in new registrations this past summer. So it's usually a wash.
Just one last question. What is the number of newcomers this year, the ELL?
I don't have that off the top of my head. I know Dr. Chea was coming up with the new enrollment numbers, but maybe
That's
Mrs.
okay.
Durkin or
That's
Mrs.
fine.
Abrams can help me out, but I'm not sure.
For
Our
the class-
classes are quite full.
They're quite full, right. So, further questions on this report? Mr. Gendron?
Just one comment. I think that on the Dropbox, the page that had the class sizes was omitted. There was a blank page in there, so I don't know if we can redistribute that. That would be good. It'd be good to have those the numbers on the class sizes. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Further thoughts, questions, comments? Motion to accept the report. Thank you, Mr. Cotto. We appreciate you
Thank you,
this
Mayor.
information and taking the time to come to the meeting tonight. Anything else, Ms. Durkin? No. Motion to accept this report as a report of progress and place on file by Ms. Ross Sikowitz, second by Ms. Scott. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to item number 18. This was response to a motion of 7/15/2015 by Ms. Ross Sikowitz. Request the superintendent and appropriate school department personnel present a report to the school committee as the budgetary impact of the most recently enacted earned sick leave law, in particular as it relates to non-benefit part-time personnel. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. This report is in response to a motion by Ms. Kristen Ross-Sitkowicz requesting the superintendent and appropriate school department personnel present a report to the school committee as the budgetary impact of the most recently enacted earned sick leave law, in particular as it relates to non-benefited part-time personnel. At this point, Mr. Mayor, with your permission, school committee permission, I'd like to ask Mr. Michael Cassidy, our HR director, to present the report.
Mr. Cassidy?
Good evening, everyone. The motion response that you have in front of you talks about the law that was adopted by the Commonwealth about earned sick time for approximately 30 hours of work per week or however someone works. Most of our employees are covered by collective bargaining agreements. This really doesn't apply to them. Our collective bargaining agreements provide a better benefit, sick leave benefit. There's a small group of employees in the district that this may apply to. But I just want to let you know that cities and towns are exempt from this law. And at this time, I've reached out to the city manager's office and the HR office at City Hall, and they are not looking to adopt this law. To enact this law, the city council would have to vote for it and then appropriate funds. Actually, the school committee would have to appropriate funds. The city will not appropriate it for you. So we would have to find the money in our budget. As I said, I don't recommend moving forward to this, on this law just now. The city council is not moving toward it. And quite frankly, from my conversations with other HR directors in the Commonwealth, no one is really adopting this. This is a law that we can opt out of.
Ms. Ross-Sigurds?
Thank you very much for the work that was done on this response. I actually put this motion on really just to get some clarity on it. I know this new law that was enacted as of July 1 was very confusing for a lot of organizations, both private and public, and so for the purposes of budgeting, I wanted to get some more information on that, and I'm certainly not advocating that the city council enact this, but if they chose to do so, it would require an additional appropriation of funds. So thank you very much.
Further questions? Mr. Cassidy, I have a couple of questions for you. What would the liability, do we have any idea what the liability would be for the school department should this be adopted?
To fund the
How many employees are we talking about? As you mentioned, most of them are collective bargaining or contract. How many, do we have any idea how many?
The group that's really involved is our day-to-day substitutes, our tutors, and we've got computer technicians. Most of these are hourly employees. From what I understand at a school-based level, is that if they are sick, they can adjust their hours during the week. They're not losing money. They're actually performing a great service in the district. The cost could run up to about $200,000, depending on the number of day-to-day subs that would trigger this. And as I was preparing the memorandum or the response to the memo, when I was typing it, we have to make a decision whether we have to get substitutes for our substitutes. And I know when I read it and when I wrote it, it sounds bizarre, quite frankly. I don't think we want to go into that area.
So we have, according to the law, it's the hourly individuals that are working on an hourly basis that are entitled to accrue and earn sick leave as the number of hours that they work. So it's our hourly workers.
If it's adopted by the city council,
Right.
Yes.
Right. So could you get us some estimate or some projection on how many hours these individuals work and what that liability would be? Because I think that needs to be, we need to have an idea of what that cost would be, and I'm sure we're going to have the same discussion on the city council side.
The average individual would be entitled to about 5 sick days per year, at a combined cost of upwards to about $200,000 per year for the budget.
Okay.
But that would just be the school side.
That would just be the school side, not. But with my conversations with the city manager's office and HR over at City Hall, we seem to have more part-time people, part-time employees than the city. From my research, the city may have to fund the seasonal employees. Our lifeguards would be entitled to that benefit too. I don't know what the cost would that, and I don't know. I'm sure every single department on the city side have some type of part-time assistance. So.
Yeah, no, it's an issue that we're going to have to take up, and the question will come up conversely at the council meeting. What's going to be the liability? What would be the liability on the school side? So it would be good to get a good accurate number, and the number of positions, number of individuals, number of hours, and what that cost will be moving forward.
Okay.
So, appreciate it. Further thoughts, comments, questions? Thank you, Mr. Cassidy. So I entertain a motion to accept the report as a report of progress by Ms. Ross-Sikowitz, second by Mr. Conway. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. Motion carries. That report is accepted as a report of progress and placed on file. We're moving on to new business. We have permission to post Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations. Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, we're trying to get this done quickly. I've been trying to convince Mr. Antonelli to delay, but there was no success into that. So I asked Mr. Antonelli to start us up with doing a little bit of a study, of comparative study of what is around us, and also to revise the job description. And at this point, I'll pass it on to Mr. Antonelli.
Mr. Antonelli?
So I have reviewed the job description, the current job description, as well as the previous one that you had on file, and edited some of those comments, combined some of those points, and prioritized the responsibilities and the duties. The job description that you have in front of you is for an assistant superintendent for finance and operations. If the school district were to go that route, that would mean that the individual would need to possess a school business administrator's license by the Department of Education, as well as a certification as a superintendent of schools. In doing the survey, I tried to take a look at some other school districts that I believe are comparable to Lowell. Included in the survey, Springfield, Lynn, and Worcester. And when you look at the information that's included in that survey, you see that the salary range is in the vicinity of $135,000 to $160,000. Recommended a proposed salary range between $135,000 to $145,000. The new person, as you probably noted on the very beginning, would start on the beginning of the new calendar year in January. We would post the position through MASBO, the Massachusetts Association of School Business Officials. We would also post it with Mass Municipal, and we would then advertise as well as put it on our website in the school district. I'd be happy to answer any questions or comments that you may have.
Thank Mr. Conway? Ms. Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the superintendent. The Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations, is that, you need a certificate for that, is that correct?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Superintendent?
Yes.
Yes.
You would need a license certificate from the state as an assistant superintendent.
Okay. If you could bear with me just for a moment, what would be the difference if a CFO, for example, how would the CFO fit into this job description?
Frank?
Yes, the CFO would fit into this job description. If the title were changed, then you would eliminate the need for having a certification as a superintendent of schools. The job description basically would be the same.
Would the, through your understanding and your background, would you say that the CFO is on the same level, should we say, as an assistant superintendent of finance and operations?
Yes, I would, and that is based on my review of those cities that are closer in size to Lowell than the other communities. The smaller communities, I'm seeing a title of school business administrator or business manager. Basically, the duties are very similar, but obviously, in a city this size, there is more responsibility. There are more staff members, the budget is larger, there are more things going on.
Well, could the, when I take a look at this, I'm saying to myself, if it's an assistant superintendent, it obviously narrows the situation down. But if it's a CFO, and they're doing the same job, basically the same job description, it certainly would open it up to a much wider variety of individuals that we could take a look at to do the job. Does that sound logical?
It does. I think that's a valid point, and I agree with what you're saying. If you do change the title to Chief Finance and Operating Officer or something similar to that, then you would eliminate the need to have the certification as the superintendent, and you may be attracting more candidates.
I think that actually it would probably make a little bit more sense that I can see, and I'm sure we're going to have some debate here, but I think that I'd like to put a motion on that we change that job description so we can get the very best person going forward, because we're talking about a complicated system. You're dealing with 15,000 students. We're talking about $160 million budget, and if we can get the very best person to come forward, I'd hate to eliminate that individual because of an assistant superintendent's certification. So I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, to change that title to a CFO.
Motion by Mr. Conway to substitute the title of Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations for Chief of Finance and Operations. And I presume that, along with that, changes the requirements, the job requirements.
But that would keep the same job description, correct?
Well, it'll keep the same job description, but you change the title. If you change the title, then you change the requirements. You don't need that certification. So,
okay.
Are those requirements part of the posting, Mr. Antonelli?
They are, Mr. Mayor. So if you looked at the requirements, number 2, where it says licensure valid for services as superintendent in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, that would be stricken.
Correct.
Can I just...
Motion made. Is there a second on the motion?
Second for the
Second
purposes
by
of discussion.
Ms. Martin.
Seconded.
On the motion, Ms. Martin?
I'd just like to ask about the school business administrator certification. Are we willing to not have that?
Oh, no, that's required.
So you're eliminating both as part of this motion?
No.
Oh, no, so we do have to have.
Yes,
That's a state-
Can you
absolutely.
explain that
That's a
to us,
state law.
please?
Yes,
Mr. Antonelli, Mr. Superintendent.
yes, that is a state law.
That's still a state law, that we have to have someone who's
It's
certified
required that you
through the
would
state
need- yes.
licensed to do this role.
Through the Department of Education, elementary and secondary education, yes.
So basically what we'd be doing in moving towards the CFO would be eliminating the higher level performance, the higher level assistant superintendent criteria, and instead limiting ourselves or opening ourselves up to just having school business administrative licensure instead of having both school business administrator and assistant superintendent. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me.
No, you're correct, and I would just point out that the certification for assistant superintendent is the same as the certification for a superintendent. So if you're certified as a superintendent, you're certified as an assistant superintendent. But that certification would be eliminated by changing the title to CFO.
Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, we welcome the change. I think it's and a clarification further to Ms. Martin is that One of the reasons that some districts will move to having an assistant superintendent is when the CFO, I mean, besides being a CFO, this person would also play a role directly in any kind of supervision of curriculum. In the previous model that you had was, and in many other districts, they may have, particularly when you're putting technology, which includes instructional technology with it, there are many aspects of the curriculum in it. So the state, you know, the ASC would require that this person has this license. In our case, as you know, with my background, the director of technology reports now directly to the superintendent. So, and we don't, I would like this person to be focused on the financial piece. So putting in the CFO is not going to disturb our model.
It will, however, reduce the level of responsibility for this position, so we're making it a less responsible position, and correspondingly, we're raising the salary pretty significantly in a way that's out of parity with the rest of our district. So for less responsibility, we're proposing a higher level of salary, not only for the position as it existed when it had more responsibility, but also in a way that puts out of parity, I don't have another word for it, our other assistant superintendents.
Mr. Superintendent?
The-
Mr. Antonelli?
Yes, the salary that you paid for the deputy superintendent in the budget was just about $145,000. That's right. There's no. No, that $5,000 was added to the $145,000.
The 145 included $5,000. Okay, go, I'm sorry. So where was that
The
$5,000?
145 was the base salary, and
And then it was on top of that, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
go ahead.
And the assistant superintendent's salaries are in the $130,000 range. What I looked at when developing this job description was the salaries of comparable school districts, so that you could attract someone who I believe would have the qualifications necessary to do the job and be interested in moving if they're currently a school business administrator in a smaller district or comparable district to Lowell.
Okay, Mr. Gendron?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I guess I'm a little confused. Why would we not want to have, you know, our CFO or our school business administrator, whatever we want to call it, not have certification to be a superintendent? I mean, I think that this is somebody who's in the top level of our administration, somebody who may at times need to take on roles that the superintendent fills. Why would we not? If we're going to pay for it, why would we water down the requirements and say, yeah, we don't want this person to have? It seems to me we could get somebody who's capable financially and also have the appropriate certification. In a community our size, I think that's something we would want. I don't understand why we would water that down.
Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't look at the two roles as one being higher than the other, not at all. I think it's the CFO is a very, very high position, as you know, in any organization, even for profit organization or other non-profit organization. It's right there at the second level position. We don't look at it. I think in response to the motion made is that the only difference really between the two is that if you remove that certification, you might be able to attract more financially, people who are very qualified in finance may not otherwise look at necessarily pursuing this direction because they have never been interested to going through the process of getting the superintendent license, which does require 3 years of commitment to things that are completely not related to finance, I have to say. Very little piece of it is related to finance, and it is very, very shallow as compared to what a CFO really requirement. It's the business certification, which is also given by the states. It's the same one. That is really the powerful one in this case. And that's the only reason. Some people who are in CFOs and business managers may have a desire to go become, in some days, a superintendent, so would pursue that, but some may not. So I think the motion, in response to the motion, is like, would we widen the market that is available out there? I think if you take it out, you'll get a larger search market, but I don't look at them as one being more, more responsible or a one that is more qualified than the other. Certainly not.
So just to follow up to that, if I may, so if indeed we are removing a requirement that we have had in the past for this role, why would we not look at ratcheting the salary down? If we're opening it up to a wider range, we're going to get more candidates. We're not requiring this certification that we did in the past. It seems like we might not have to pay as much. And frankly, to Ms. Martin's point, we're elevating this role that now doesn't have to have assistant superintendent certification salary-wise to the same level as our assistant superintendents. So what about our other directors of technology or whatever it might be? Shouldn't they then be able to say, well, hey, I deserve that same level of salary too, because this function is important? I don't want to open us up to situations where we have other people in the district, it's happened before, other people in the district saying, hey, that person's doing the same level of role that I am, and they're getting paid more, so I should get paid more. I'd be concerned about that.
Mr. Superintendent?
Yeah, well, I come from different parts, as you know, both academic and non-academic, and I think you have to pay attention to the market, what's available in the market, and if you're trying to attract good candidates, and if our comparable neighbors, not neighbors, but comparable districts are willing to offer them for comparable work a certain amount of money, and we want to attract them, you want to be in a position to attract people like that. At the end of the day, it's a decision of the committee where to go. We'll work with whatever number but if we are to try to attract the best that exists out there, that's the range we recommend, which is really not, it's actually slightly below what we had before, when you consider not only the base, but the additions that were added to it. It's at the end of the day, it's what you want to get, what you want to pay for, and you usually would get commensurable experience that is, proportional to the money you pay.
Okay, so just to close out my comments, I feel like this is a significant move if we were to do this, in my opinion. I feel like this motion came off the floor. I'd like to get some more information if we're going to change the responsibilities for this role. I'd like to know, what do other communities do? Do they have CFOs, or do they have assistant superintendents in charge of finance? What are the pay scales like in similar communities, so that we can make sure that we're doing this in a way that's consistent with the industry?
Mr. Superintendent, and then I want to go to the member.
Sorry, I just want to answer him. Yeah, no, actually, on the third page here, we do have some information there. In Springfield, it is a chief financial, it is a CFO, and in Springfield, it's slightly larger than us, as you know. It's 140. In Worcester, it is a CFO at 160. And I can, in Lynn, for instance, it's a school business administrator, and however, the salary is still pretty high because of the size of there. So, and we can get you more information, but these are usually the districts that we compare Lowell to because of the size, and they are using CFO.
Mr. Leary.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I think just a couple of statements. One, I'm intrigued by the idea. I think if it actually could bring more people, it might be the way to go. I think I agree with Mr. Gendron. We probably should put this to the personal subcommittee to have a discussion about it. it's kind of the way I really roll, because I'm in the business sector. This is kind of how I think. So I'm actually leaning in favor of supporting it, but there's a lot of other issues I'd like to look into, having it come through here. I realized Springfield did, I was aware of that. Springfield went through some very hard, receivership just about times, I think. So I think it was more of a numbers and cents game as opposed to a whole variety. For the past 10 years, we've had well, even longer than that, variety, assistant superintendent, then we went to a director, then back up to an assistant superintendent just in, I think, the past 12 years, I think, relatively. So it's something that's new. That doesn't mean it's not a bad idea. I guess why wouldn't we have brought it out that way initially? Why wouldn't we have made it a CFO in your recommendations? But I think it might be worthwhile to take a look at. I just think if the maker of the motion could go to a personnel subcommittee so we could have more discussion on it, and then I think on the 21st, or whatever the date is of our next meeting, might be a good idea to do. It might make sense for what we're trying to achieve. I think looking at things differently is a good idea. I think there's a lot of questions regarding salary. I agree with you that position is a high-level position. It's probably different in the educational setting from the setting that I come from. It's actually the way they do things. And there's a lot of other layers below it, controllers, director of finance, other types of positions that actually would be a director level. So a chief financial officer, in and of itself, if we really have more look into it, the position itself is actually at the same level as assistant superintendent. But I think before we make that judgment tonight, based on even your own recommendations to make it an assistant superintendent position, and the fact that we've had it that way for a while, maybe another review at it, and then come out and in the next meeting and have a real full final vote. I'm intrigued by it. I think it might have some possibilities. I think it's worth taking a look at. And I think one of the issues too that I wanted to address when it first came out, and I want to end with this, I don't know if this committee should really be picking that individual based on your recommendation, because 4 of us certainly will not be here, okay? 3 of us, I think, will not be here. So I think that's something to take in consideration. I don't know how that dynamic plays. I think you'll be working with a whole new school committee, and I realize in January the position will become really a full-time plus position because you really got to ramp up for your budget. So you don't want to be waiting in February to make those decisions. But it's something I think we could probably hash out in a personal subcommittee meeting. But again, I'm intrigued by the idea. It's positioned from where I come from in my business, my background, that's the way they do it. But I think if the maker of the motion would allow us to go to a personnel subcommittee, I'm sure we could have a meeting prior to the next meeting and really hash out some of those issues. Thank you.
So let me just go to Ms. Martin, and then we'll go to you, Mr. Conway, and then I'd like Ms. Martin to take the chair.
Just going where you had referenced in the, between the Springfield and Worcester, I'm looking at the comparisons here. Now, in Worcester, we are looking at CAGs. That's a specific educational track, correct?
Yes.
So that in that, they are a chief finance and operations officer, but they do have education requirements for that position. It's not strictly like the masters like Springfield.
I'm not sure that's a requirement. That just happens what they have to have, what they're having.
Oh, so the
It's not a
educational level is
requirement.
just
It's
who's sitting in the
just
seat
what
right
they
now?
have.
It's not what's
Yes,
required
that's
by their
correct.
job description?
We're not aware that it is a requirement or not a requirement.
Were you going by their job descriptions, or were you going by individual information about the people in the role?
I was going by individual people in the role, conversations that I had with them, how much they were making.
Mr. Antonelli, could you turn on your microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I heard you perfectly.
I was going by conversations that I did have with those individuals.
So then we wouldn't have the specific information in terms of areas of responsibility as either.
I did not ask them for their job description, but I did have a conversation with them about their responsibilities.
So it might be helpful if they are willing to share, these are public documents, to have that, if it does indeed go to whether personnel or whatever subcommittee, to have that conversation. I'd also say, and I certainly agree that it can be a competitive marketplace, and we do want to bring in the absolute best person we can. I think we all feel the same way about our teachers. We have our conversations about where we stack up compared to other districts that look a lot like this. And as you know, it's a concern, but it cannot be the most prevailing concern. I mean, we need to be in line with what we can afford and with the way our structure is set up. So I appreciate this information. I'm going to be even more interested to see how the actual job descriptions align. And I think the other just topic for us to be aware of, there is an HR concept called preferred. We have an opportunity where if you're putting in a superintendency requirement as a preferred as opposed to required, it still gives you the transparency of points being awarded based on a higher level, but it does allow you to open up the search so that people who don't necessarily have the superintendency licensure still can apply, but it will be a very simple thing for us to be able to make those comparisons because of the point system that's in place and the way that again, preferred versus required works. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Conway, then Ms. Scott.
Thank you. A comment that was made a little bit earlier about a concern if somebody had to fill in for the superintendent's position, and that, to be quite frank with you, isn't a concern for me, because sitting right over there, we have 2 assistant superintendents that certainly can fill in at any particular time, and I certainly have confidence in them to be able to handle the situation. The other point that I think is extremely important is the fact that it does open things up for a number of different people in different, should we say, different walks of life. And I think when you're limiting it just for the certification for assistant superintendent, I think that, needless to say, that narrows that pool down. And I kind of like the idea of opening it up so that you have many more choices. So I'm certainly in favor of it, needless to say. And I think the discussion is good, and it sounds like it's going to continue. So, thank you.
Ms. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My comment was similar to Ms. Martin's. Eliminating the superintendent's licensure requirement it's not precluding that person from applying for the job, correct? No. So, I mean, it's still, an option for them to apply. This, in my opinion, just opens it up to a higher level finance experience, type person, and I'm definitely in favor of that. Thank you.
Mr. Superintendent?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I want to reiterate that I don't know what the perception here is about CFO versus assistant, but there is no difference because of the role that they do with respect, the main role that they do, which is the finance. That's what you're looking at. We don't hire somebody to be a finance manager because we will count on them to be a superintendent. As Mr. Conway said, we do have 2 assistant superintendent licensed by the state, and we're in no danger that we ever have as districts stay without a licensed superintendent, because we make sure that even when we take 1 day vacation, we always consult with each other that somebody is always available. So that there shouldn't be really any concern about that. I think as far as the salary is really the competency, the experience of the person that would dictate really what you pay them. In this case, we want somebody who's qualified, knows their business, because with as busy as they are, their main business is going to be finance, and we want somebody very qualified. And I agree with you. We could amend it to say, preferred, if you'd like, and we do. And as Ms. Scott said, an assistant, a person who is holder of an assistant superintendent license is fully qualified. Say somebody from a neighboring district comparable to ours who would like to come to us and turns out to be the best candidate. That's fine. They can be, and I don't think it's that's going to exclude them whether they have it or don't have it. The only difference is, in thinking about it, after this debate, it just opens up a little bit. It really isn't much different. It's not going to change the job description. It's not going to change the only thing that changes is the requirement, the license. And I don't think we want to even think of necessarily tying up the salary just because somebody has one more piece of paper that most likely they're never going to use. The assistants, not with us at least for now, unless they move up to the role of superintendent or somewhere else or somewhere here, whatever. But then it becomes like, are we paying people for what they do for us or for the paper that they hold? And that's something that we have to be. And now sometimes the state requires us to have these papers. That's a different thing. And I think, it's a little bit different from curriculum It's a little bit different from student services because those jobs do not have a business license. They don't have a separate license. To be leading curriculum, you must have an assistant superintendent license for curriculum. And that's, I think, the main difference. I think the business is, we're already protected by that in their area of expertise, they're required to have and show that they are licensed by the state to operate in that area.
Ms. Martin, did you want to speak before I
I wanted to
could ask you
quickly
to come up?
say, as a school committee, as a district, I'm in favor of pieces of paper. I don't dismiss them.
No, I don't.
Diplomas are important. Background is important. Understand. I know you. I'm just saying, I think it's important to note that having somebody in that position, and I have served with several people. Some did have a complete understanding of education. Some did not. You could tell the difference. I think that, again, if it is preferred, then I am comfortable that we'll be able to make a qualified and a quality judgment based on what somebody comes to us with in terms of background and experience. So I'm more than happy to have that as an option and that we can consider each finalist that you wish to bring forward and go from there. That's fine. But I do think that people who come with the qualifications, who come with the state certifications and with the actual experience, are valuable and make a real difference in the way that this district will run, because our finances certainly are complicated and challenging and big, but they are intimately and intrinsically linked to our educational mission, and that is an important understanding to have, rather than several decimal points.
Ms. Scott, and then Ms. Martin.
Just one more comment. If we're talking about the importance of the piece of paper that they have in the business manager position, I'd rather see a CPA or an advanced finance degree, if that's the type of consideration we're looking for. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
I'll be brief. Most points have been made. I support the motion to change this because I think the fact that we need a business manager, that's what this position is, that's what every district has, that's what the law says. And they're very specific in the criteria that they require in order to get that certification. We don't need another superintendent. We have a superintendent, we have 2 deputy superintendents, we need a business manager. And that's what we want that individual to have, the background in accounting and finance, because Ms. Martin just said it. It's $159 million budget, and with that requires an intricate knowledge of finance. I don't support sending it to a subcommittee. I don't think you're going to change this job description. If we want to add in that the individual, if they have a superintendent's certification, that's fine, but I support having a business manager. That's what we need. That's what all the other districts have. I don't know why we're trying to micromanage or delay this issue. It's important. We have not had a business manager for 90 days. We're hiring Mr. Antonelli as a consultant. It's going to take some time to post this, to go through the resumes, and to bring a candidate on. We're not in a rush, but we don't need to delay this anymore. It's not necessary. This is a very comprehensive job description. What's going to change? What's going to change on what we want this individual to have? So I'm not going to support a motion to go to send this to a personnel subcommittee. I think that we change it. We're lowering the salary by my math, that this individual, the prior assistant superintendent, was making $150,000, $145 plus a $5,000 stipend for a certification. And no one's saying we're hiring at the higher level. It's $135 to $145. And we want to be able to attract. We just went through this whole exercise on trying to attract the best candidate for superintendent. And the same criteria that we're setting here, we want to make sure we have a competitive salary. We want to make sure we have criteria for the best interest of the district. That's what we have here. So I don't understand what the issue is. Like, there's a big surprise. This is almost standard operating procedure to get a business manager here. That's what we need. We don't need another, superintendent. We have 3 individuals who have that certification. If they want to have it, I'm not opposed to it. But we need someone with a finance background and experience in accounting to do this job, and I think we need to move on it.
Mr. Leary.
Thank you so much. I think there's other issues, actually, too, that we need to discuss. Who's actually going to pick it? Obviously, you make the recommendation, Dr. Calfow, and you're going to have to work with the person. So I think it's, who you recommend, I think the committee is going to be supporting. I can go with the CFO. That's kind of the way I think anyway. I don't see the problem in waiting to go to a personal subcommittee. In fact, that's quite an intelligent move to do that, to actually talk about some of the issues. Who's going to be the school committee that's going to vote on it? How about the next school committee coming in? You're going to have 5 new members of that school committee, including the mayor. What about those individuals actually listening to the interviews of the folks that you're looking at to get some of their input and feedback? Because they're going to come here in January. I don't know how, we haven't discussed that. I thought when we came here tonight, what I thought we were going to do is recommend it to go to a personal subcommittee. Again, if we're going to vote a CFO, hey, I'm into the CFO thing. That's how I do my whole professional career. You're right. You're going to get the CFO position is, in my opinion, because it's finance, it's actually higher than assistant superintendent. So there. But frankly, going to a personal subcommittee is actually an intelligent move because there's other issues we may not have actually considered. If we're going to vote on it tonight, I've asked, if the maker of the motion would want to go to a personal subcommittee. We don't have to if you don't want to. I'm going to make a motion, do a substitute motion. It'll lose probably. It seems like this has all been choreographed, so that's pretty cool. I'll vote again in favor of the CFO thing because I think that's kind of probably the way I would go anyway. But I thought it would be kind of a good thing to have the whole committee have a chance to review it, actually talk about how that process selection would go. What type of interviews would you have? Would they be private? Would they be public? Would you want to have your new school committee, your new bosses involved in that type of a review? Maybe you don't. I don't know. That might be a good idea to really hash out a little longer than just simply, we could do this on the next meeting, which is only 2 weeks away. Again, I'm going to support a CFO. I'm intrigued by it. If it does open up the candidates to more people, so be it. I don't see the problem of waiting. You recommended an assistant superintendent, and now we're going to go to CFO. Again, that's kind of the way I would want to go anyway. So I kind of, no offense, but we can wait 2 weeks. It's kind of an intelligent thing to do because there's a lot of other issues we need to take a look at besides just is it a CFO. So I'd ask if the maker of the motion doesn't want to go to a personal subcommittee, I'll make a motion to make a substitute at that point, recognizing that I actually support the idea because I think it has real strong merit. Thank you.
Mr. Conway, I don't know how you'd feel about that, or if we should
As
vote
far
on your
as I'm
motion first.
concerned, I think there's enough of information on the table for me to vote on it tonight.
Okay, so if the clerk could read back if no one else has anything to add, I'm sorry, Mr. Conway, Mr. Gendron.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. I agree that we shouldn't be micromanaging, but the recommendation, Mr. Superintendent, was to post an assistant superintendent for finance of operations. What we're doing here is actually micromanaging. We're coming out, it came from the floor, and this is out of left field for me. I had no idea we were going to change this. Apparently, that's not the case for everybody. But, so I'd like to see it go to a subcommittee so I can at least, understand all the ins and outs of making this change. I mean, I come from a corporate environment too. I've worked in a corporate environment all my life. I know what a CFO is, but this is different. Yes, we need financial background, but this is a very unique. I don't think you can take a CFO, from my company and just drop him in here and he's going to know what he's doing. I think having some understanding of educational background is a good thing. I'm not opposed to the idea completely, but I just think, this kind of came out of left field. This is a pretty significant change. I think it's worth a committee getting together, understanding your perspective, because from what I can understand, your perspective is different than what you proposed here tonight. You're suggesting that you don't really support what you proposed. You want to do something differently. So I don't know why you didn't just propose what you want. Why did we say post an assistant superintendent if that's not what you wanted?
Yes, Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it was really just following what was in here before, and there was clearly no thinking like, well, let's change. We focused on the job description in it, and if you notice, the job description has mostly the financial piece. We could go with the assistant. I'm not concerned about that, and we could go with the CFO. I'm not concerned about that because in my book, as I told you, they're equivalent. Salary-wise is not defined by what the title of one. What I'm concerned with is the job description, and if you notice the job description, we're not talking about changing the job description at all. We're talking about, if we go the route of a CFO to open up the market, we're only recommending a change of a requirement of the license. We're not talking about job description here at all. And I'm not recommending that we go to the personnel committee to talk about the job description, because I think this is a job description that we looked at what's there, what's available, and their advisement of also professionals in this field. So I'm not really sure that why are we spending so much time to this, because even if you go to personnel committee, what would you want to talk about? We're only recommending this. I mean, it doesn't matter to me what you do, whether it's this or that. As I said, my focus is on the job description, that this is a finance person primarily, and also if that we can get the salary range that allow us to get the person that is qualified.
What about the concept?
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't know you.
No, I was just wanted to make a clarification, because I know the media is here, and please don't misquote me. I never said that papers included the degrees. I always look at degrees in an educational institution as a very important piece, and I encourage, actually, every time I go around, talk to teachers, principals, whatever, I always encourage them for further education. Degrees are not papers. When I meant paper, I was clearly referring to state license for a license that is never to be used by the person who is in that job, because the state requires the business license. That is the requirement for a person to be in that field. Okay. And I've never included the degrees in that, please.
What about the concept that Ms. Martin raised about putting a preference in?
Yeah, I responded to that. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I mean, that's the type of thing we could discuss in the personnel subcommittee. I mean, I would be in favor of sending to the committee for 1 week and finalizing, complete recommendation at the next meeting.
Any other comments? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So I guess conspiracy theory is always a good fallback, but I haven't spoken to anybody about this. I just think this is common sense. I don't know why we're spending so much time on it. It's very important. The same individual is concerned about, getting the right person. The same individual that was concerned about giving Mr. Antonelli enough hours to be working here. So you can't have it both ways. We've got to get a full-time individual here. It's been 90 days. This is it's a very good position description. It's no different than any other district. I don't see why we're moving on. The only thing that I don't hear a motion we hear talking about, I'd make a motion. There's already a motion on the floor. I don't know if a substitute has been made or seconded, but I do think that a substitute has been made.
No, it has not.
I think there has been. Okay, so there's no substitute. Okay, well, I would make an amendment to the motion that if the individual has a superintendent certification, that be included as preferred. So I'd make that in the form of an amendment to the original motion.
To change the initial proposal, to change the original job description so that
To include the criteria of a superintendent certification will be considered preferred. Yes.
Okay, but that's changing what was presented.
That's why there's an amendment.
Well, no, the amendment, the initial motion changes what was presented to us tonight.
The initial motion is to change the title, which changes the job requirements. I'm amending that motion in order to include that it can be considered preferred if that individual has it.
So the maker of the motion would need to approve that? Is that?
No, it's an amendment to his motion.
Oh, sorry. So I would defer, how do we?
Just
So
vote-
you're
we'll
making
vote-
the amendment to the
Motion was made
motion?
on the amendment, it needs to be seconded.
So a second for the amendment. Seconded by Mr. Leary. All those in favor? Say aye. Opposed? The amendment passes.
Right.
So now the amended motion is before the committee. It's been
Correct.
made and seconded, or does it need to be seconded again?
It was made and seconded.
So now we'll do a roll call vote to move forward.
On the amended.
On the motion as amended.
Full motion amended.
If the clerk would call the roll.
Ms. Rostikowicz?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes.
Mr. Gendron?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
It's healthy debate, Mr. Superintendent, healthy debate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Superintendent?
Yes.
We're moving on. We have concluded new business. Is this another item?
No, may I?
Mr.
be authorized
Superintendent?
To comment on the previous point?
Yes.
Yes, thank you all for the vote. We will be posting the job. We will be hopefully getting enough candidates, and I will be bringing to the Personnel Committee a discussion on how do we want to go with the interviews, and because I'd like to hear how would you like to go. That I know it's a because it is a high-level position. I think we need to get the school committee involved in it.
Mr. Leary?
Just, no, I thank you. I think that's really my biggest concern. I think that's a good idea. And you're going to work with the person. So you're really going to have a good comfort level, whoever comes in. And you're going to work with new bosses next year. So I think that really, in a large number, it's not just a couple people up for election. It's going to completely change. So you need to kind of somehow incorporate that. I'm not sure how you go about doing that, but I think that's important. But I appreciate that. That's my largest concern. But again, it's got to be a comfort level for your team and a good fit for your team.
I think public interviews will not be, final ones will be in order in this case because of the changing school committee. Welcome.
Okay, further comments? Okay, we'll move on. The last item on the agenda, we have convention and conference requests. We have we have three of them. Entertain a motion to take all three conferences together by Mr. Larry, second by Ms. Rosikowicz. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and they oppose. Motion carries. Motion to approve all three conferences. Comments, questions, thoughts? Motion to approve by Mr. Conway, second by Mr. Gendron. Excuse me. Roll call.
Ms. Rosikowicz?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes.
Mr. Gendron?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
7 yeas approved. That concludes business before the school committee tonight. Entertain a motion to adjourn by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Rosikowicz. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. That motion carries. This meeting stands adjourned.